What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? I'm your host, Lawrence Youngblood, reporting from the city of New Orleans channel. Back at y'all with another read of Raised in Violence and another fire video docu of this particular chapter. So, without further ado, let me get started. I'm going to be reading from Raised in Violence, Book 1, Chapter 7. February 1986. It was carnival time. Within 2 weeks, it would be Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday. This was a major tourist attraction, festival no one would dare miss. Every year, my beloved Aunt Carrie, who was my grandmother's sister from Brooklyn, New York, would fly in. She loved some carnival time down in New Orleans. Like most New Orleans did, I highly anticipated this time of year. I was sure to be on my best behavior because I didn't want my mom to punish and prohibit me from going to the parades that led up to Mardi Gras Day, especially since this was the only time of the year I was able to buy and eat bags of cotton candy. I was crazy about that cotton candy. In a sense, for me, these parades were like attending the big World's Fair, except that there weren't any prize games to play and rides to ride. Instead, I got a big thrill out of watching the delicate floats and hustling and bustling to catch Mardi Gras beads and cups and doubloons that were thrown from the floats. Watching the school's marching bands and torch holders was also a big thrill. I always had fun at these parades. Whenever I went to a parade, I always had an adult or older person to bring me. This was no place for a kid to be going by themselves, even though I always saw badasses there alone. There were too many people, too much distraction, and chaos going on. My mom would only bring us on Mardi Gras Day, especially to catch the morning Zulu parade, because she always had to work late. If we couldn't get anyone to bring us, or we just didn't go. Of course, though, we'd find someone to bring us if our mom couldn't. Now that I was getting older, though, my mom was starting to trust me to travel and go places alone. And because I was an adventurous kid, I was taking advantage of this freedom. Actually, I was abusing it, being in a rush to be grown. I was going everywhere I could think of to go, whether it was way to Canal Street to shop, or to my dad's job at a French Quarters restaurant, or way to the night where he lived with a lady friend and her badass 5 kids, or back and forth by both of my grandmas and so forth. I was navigating the city as though I was a teen or grown. I love this sense of freedom, independence, and maturity. Sometimes I didn't even know my way to where I was going, but I still got there safe and sound. If I wasn't using my bike, I'd catch the RTA bus, or sometimes I'd walk. I wasn't afraid at all, which my appetite for exploring suppressed any fear that would derive. The past few parades I'd been to by myself went pretty smooth. I had fun, of course. It felt great to be on my own at the parades amongst thousands of people. People who could get out of control at times, mostly due to intoxication. I didn't have any over precautions growing up preventing me from really having fun. I was having a blast. The main parade route started from uptown on Napoleon and St. Charles Avenues and traveled all the way down to the downtown on Canal Street. Each time I made it to St. Charles Avenue, just before the parade started at 6 o'clock, I'd buy me some cotton candy, a corn dog with mustard and a Coke, and a few toys like paper pops or flashy neon sunvisor. I'd eat my treats just in time for the parade to start. When the parade would start rolling, I'd begin having a ball, catching gifts thrown from the floats. I watched the school's marching bands with intense passion, visualizing myself playing the drums in the band. So far, everything was going smooth despite the racist encounter I ran into. An old racist merrymaker was throwing all of his gifts to just white folks and ignoring us blacks. I peeped out his play about to throw to another white couple, swooped in like a Saints player and intercepted the toss, pissing them all off. I could hear the couple shouting hateful slurs as I dipped and disappeared into the crowd like a badass from the St. Thomas Project. It was all about the hustle, nothing personal on my part. When I came out into the opening of the neutral ground, I realized I had gotten lucky catching 7 long, beautiful pearls. These particular beads were very valuable. When I turned in all of my beads and doubloons at Mardi Gras supply store for money, I could get more money for the pearls than I could get for the regular beads. I wasn't going to trade these in though. I said I was going to give my mom and my 2 grandmas 2 pearls apiece and a remaining pearl to Misha. I placed the pearls around my neck and proceeded hustling and bustling for throws from the floats and watching the bands when they came marching along, really enjoying my night out at the parade. My favorite schools I like to see marching here below were Samuel J. Green Junior High and Walter L. Kahn and St. Augustine Senior High schools. It was always a pleasure to see these schools get down and do their thing, like most people did when they saw their school or favorite school approaching, marching. I would watch these schools attentively in amazement and follow them all hyped as if I was a groupie or starstruck. Hearing them blow and thump out hit songs, the drum section playing drum lines, and see the whole band do routine dance moves was real fascinating. My imagination ran wild, visualizing myself marching. I couldn't wait until I got to junior high. I was going to show off. I was also anxious to march because Sin, Ville, Nita, and Misha were all marching for Samuel J. Green Middle School. They were majorettes, cheerleaders, and flag twirlers. Seeing each of them marching, I couldn't wait until I got to Green School next year. I planned to be a major player in the drum section of the school band. I was excited about making my dad proud of me by showing him he was right about me having that gift to play musical instruments in my blood and soul. It was great to see Green Middle School once again. And even though I was real excited about seeing my relatives march again, I was really focused on seeing Misha, especially since I hadn't visited nor talked to her in a long time. This sort of disturbed me, even though I didn't pay it much mind since I knew school had a lot to do with it. What I didn't know though was that she just wasn't interested in me anymore. She was growing up fast. I wanted to see and talk to Misha so bad I started to follow the parade all the way to Canal Street where it would end. But then the reality of my mom beating my ass and punishing me where I couldn't attend any more parades, including Mardi Gras, hit me and I quickly relinquished that notion from my mind. My mom specifically told me not to follow the parade to Canal Street and to come straight home when it ended at Jackson Avenue. I just let the school march on by and looked forward to seeing her again the next time they marched in the parade. I decided to cross over the street to the sidewalk because it seemed as though the merrymakers weren't throwing much on the neutral ground streetcar track side anymore. It was the middle of the parade and my backsack wasn't even halfway full with beads and the likes. As usually around this time, my backsack would be almost full. I had to get mine. Instead of going on the sidewalk, I decided to stand in the street curbside like everyone else were. It seemed like the perfect spot to catch some throws. I threw my hands up like the excited throng. Hey, 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 throw me something, mister, as a float rolled up, tossing out purple and gold Mardi Gras cups rapidly. The crowd was going crazy trying to catch them. However, me and many others that were within arm's reach of the float, looking up at the masked merrymakers, hollering at the top of our lungs to throw us a cup or something, were practically ignored and overlooked. They paid us no mind while steady tossing the cups to the throng behind us. I was so caught up in the heat of the moment, determined to get me at least one cup, I started following the float as it proceeded. My arms were held high, and I was steadily hollering, hey, throw me something, mister, while walking fast with my focus up at the masked men. I had no idea what was ahead of me. Shit, my mind wasn't even on what was ahead. I was trying desperately to get me a cup out of one of these fools. That's all I was thinking about. Besides, I knew nothing could get in my way since I was in the streets near the curbside. Suddenly, boom, felt like I ran into a brick wall and I was starting to slowly die. I was gasping for air and clinging on to dear life. It was horrifying, especially realizing the racist white cop with a thick black mustache who was patrolling the streets had gutted me with his black steel baton and cut at my wind. And what was more disturbing, the cop just stood there watching as I stumbled over to the sidewalk, breathing real hard. I gave him an urgent look as in saying, please help me. But yet the beast just turned away as though I didn't exist or as though he wanted me to die. It didn't even matter that I just was a little kid. Die, nigga, die was his expression. As many people that were out there, I felt so deserted, so all alone, so wordless. No one seemed to notice me in my urgency. I just kept saying, please, God, don't let me die. It was so awfully wrong and evil. I started crying. Why me? And as if things couldn't get any worse, an adversary appeared. Out of nowhere, Artie, a boy who was in my class and I couldn't get along with, appeared. Instead of helping me, he started laughing at me in a tantalizing manner. He was one of those kids that didn't like me because of where I lived and my attraction and style. A hater. And because he was the pretty boy, wannabe Bobby Brown star type that had all attention and everybody praising him, he felt I was a threat to him, especially when I started outshining him dressing fly and wearing assorted Kango hats, which were his favorites. For Artie to see me so weak and vulnerable, though, it was like he had gotten a victory. I even felt so humiliated and defeated knowing he saw me in such a weak state. He would try to tease me the next day at school about this evil that was done to me tonight, but I introduced him to my wrath. I won't have any more problems out of his ass afterwards. Fortunately, I survived the evil the beast inflicted on me. The little strength I got as my oxygen started functioning properly again, I dashed through the garden district and headed home. I couldn't believe the police had done that to me, and I didn't even do anything. I questioned how could he do that to a fucking kid. Or who does cold-hearted shit like that to anybody for no apparent reason? This second brush with the dark side of the law really scared me. It made me very disdainful of the police. When I got home, which I cried half of the way to the St. Thomas, I didn't even tell my mom about what happened to me. I wanted to tell her, but I knew she would report the evil, which meant police would be summoned to our home. And I didn't want to see any fucking police. I just felt I'd only make matters worse if I told her. Besides, I was exhausted. I just wanted to take my bath and get ready for school in the morning. I knew it was best that I endured this misfortune, but keep in mind that the police were evil, a big lie, and against black people, especially us from the ghetto. In my young mind, I was like, from now on, it's fuck the police. So yeah, that was my bad experience with the dark side of the police at 10 years old. So, and in spite of my past issues, bad past issues with the police, I have no issue with the police today. You know, I don't walk around feeling like fuck the police and nothing negative like that. I mean, we all know there's good and there's bad, you know, in everything, you know. And I have family and friends in law enforcement, you know, and so, and I respect authority, you know, and you know, without law and order in society, I mean, we'll be living like savages. So, there's a need for the police. So, and the thing with our police department, their badge, it's deeper than the crescent. And if you know, you know, you know. So I respect it, you know. So yeah, so well, without further ado, let's get into the video docu of this particular chapter of Raised in Violence. We're at St. Charles, Tyler Down, very spot where the officer, my first experience of being hit, beaten, experiencing the bad side of the law took place right here. But we're uptown on St. Charles, the parade route. This is where it all goes down at Mardi Gras time. All your locals and tourists, this is a major extravaganza, major tourist attraction. Fat Tuesday. But this is the spot right here where I was 10 years old, trying to have fun at the parade while I encountered this misfortunate incident with the police. 10 years old. Like everybody's crowded, everybody's mister. Throw this up, mister. Throw this up. And next thing I know, boom. I'm like, ooh. Felt like, man, like, you know that feeling when you lose your breath, somebody cut you in. It was like hard force, like trying to light the life out. And I was like, oh, it's so bad. And I looked up, and all I saw was police. He had the billet in his hand, and he was looking at me with that evil look. And I was like, I couldn't believe this was the police. So I stumbled over there. I got on my knees, and I was like, I'm crying. Like, help me. Let them know. Oh, he walks up. He laughing at me. You know, carrying on. I'm like, help me. I'm panicking. Everybody needs to go dead with no mind. So, but as I got my breath, it took a few seconds to get my breath. I took off running in the Garden District. Took off running. Shot down that street. And I made my way all the way to the St. Thomas Project. Grind. Can't believe what the police just did to a 10-year-old kid. So that wraps that part of the video to that particular chapter of Raised in Violence, my experience with the dark side of police. Thank y'all for tuning in. Stay tuned for more good videos, more docus, readings, Raised in Violence. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, and share button. Till next time, peace.